All right, time to bring in DD India's team of reporters covering the election from the ground. Joining me are Debyendu Mondal, who is in Ranaghat, West Bengal. We have Mark Lynn at Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, and Akshay Dongre is in Hyderabad, Telangana. Coming to you first, Debyendu, give us a flavor of all that happened through the day in Ranaghat and elsewhere in the state.
Well, Ramesh, very good evening to you from West Bengal. Today was, we have witnessed this election in West Bengal to be mostly peaceful. There were some incidents of violence that came in specifically from the constituency of Bardhaman, Durgapur constituency, where the BJP's Dilip Ghosh is contesting against former cricketer and now Trinamool Congress candidate Kirti Azad. There were multiple reports, in fact, of violence that came in from that particular constituency, and also the Bardhaman Purva, which is the Bardhaman North constituency. Some stray incidents had also been reported from Krishnanagar. But why I'm telling all this is, Ramesh, because, West Bengal has been marred with poll violence for a very, very long time. And this is perhaps one of the first in the last 1 decade that we have seen the elections in Bengal to be relatively peaceful, with no major incidents being reported from this particular elections. In fact, apart from one incident which I mentioned earlier, in which the BJP claims or alleges, in fact, that the convoy of the former state president Dilip Ghosh and now candidate of Purva Bardhaman Durgapur had been attacked by TMC goons in his constituency while he was doing rounds in his constituency. Apart from that, what I sensed on the ground about the mood and about the issues of these particular constituencies that goes to polls is, of course, the issue of corruption, which the Trinamool Congress government is battling for a very long time. Several of their ministers are currently in jail. Apart from that, there were issues of unemployment, there are issues of lack of infrastructure development and civic amenities in many parts of the rural hinterlands of Bengal. So these were, of course, the issues, but also, Ramesh, one has to understand when they talk about the politics of Bengal is, of course, about the multiple social welfare schemes and the doles that the Trinamool government have been giving out to the people of Bengal, and this is without caste, creed, religion, class, etc. Every woman in the state gets about 1,000 to 1,500 rupees in their bank account every month. So this particular scheme of the West Bengal government is doing some good for the Trinamool Congress when they're contesting elections here amongst the women voters. There are multiple other schemes for the women of West Bengal which are attracting the women voters towards the Trinamool Congress. Of course, the battle is tough. There are 3 more phases to go. West Bengal is polling in all the 7 phases. The voter turnout today, if I talk particularly about this particular phase, it has been about 76% as of 6 p.m. As per the latest Election Commission data. But it is likely to increase slightly more than about 78 to 79%. The Bengal have been always polling really high numbers. But this time around also we are hoping that the 80% mark that Bengal have been recording over the last 1.5 decade would be met by the electorate of Bengal. Back to you.
Right. From Ranaghat in West Bengal, let me now take you to Hyderabad in Telangana, where my colleague Akshay Dongre is standing by. Akshay, how was the voter turnout in Hyderabad and elsewhere in the state as well?
Well, Ramesh, when it comes to the voter turnout in Hyderabad, it was quite disappointing as far as the overall voter turnout in Telangana is concerned. The voter turnout remained below 40%. In fact, it was just above 39%, the overall voting percentage. In fact, it's not just Hyderabad. The neighboring constituency also, including Sikandrabad and Malkajgiri, reported below 50% voter turnout. And that was, in fact, a watershed moment for for the efforts that the Election Commission has been making as far as the awareness is concerned, as far as making people aware is concerned, to come out and cast their ballot in this general elections. However, if you look at the urban areas, this has been the trend, not just in this election, but in the last elections as well. Voting turnout has generally been low. And usually it is the case when the voting day is just next to or just ahead of the weekend, where the working professional usually consider taking a long weekend off instead of just being there at their homes and considering going out to polls. And the scorching heat of Telangana also played a key role in that. However, if you look at the rural areas, including the areas of Adilabad, the voting turnout remained quite high. It was 69%.
Right.
If you look at areas like Bhongir, it was 72% of voting turnout, and overall the voting turnout in Telangana remained while below the national average. It was slightly above 61%, which was not that great, but it remained almost as equal as 2019 voting turnout in the state, and it remains to be seen that what is going to be the result of this voting percentage when the results are given out on 4th of June.
All right, from Hyderabad, let me hop across to the neighboring state of Andhra Pradesh, where my colleague Mark Lynn is standing by at Visakhapatnam. Mark, how did the polling go? Was it peaceful, barring incidents such as a ruling party legislator manhandling a voter in Guntur?
Yes, indeed, Ramesh. Apart from that one incident, polling was by and large peaceful. In fact, people did make a noise about a few VIPs trying to, break the queue and going in and voting ahead of their turn. But I think the police did take care of that. In the polling booths that I was covering, I did see a few incidents where people did get a little upset about standing in queues for a very long time. But at the end of the day, when they did vote, they were very happy. Some even had waited for 3 hours. But despite all that, the voter turnout in Visakhapatnam is only 60%. And the overall state of Andhra Pradesh is 68% as of 5 p.m. I don't know whether it will go up much more than that,
right,
but it is much less than what it was in 2019, which was 80%. And we need to know what that probably implies. But if we look at the distribution of polling booths, polling stations, 3/4 of them are in the rural areas, and about 1/4 of them are in urban areas. And we did see large numbers in the urban areas. This is an eyewitness account that I'm giving, but I suppose that there were a pretty large voter turnout as well in the rural areas. And I'm a bit surprised that the voter turnout in Visakhapatnam is only 60%, because I saw queues throughout the whole day.
Right.
And perhaps, maybe the figures will increase towards as the Election Commission puts them together and gives us the final tally.
Mark, we've spoken about the parliamentary election, but Andhra Pradesh also held an assembly election simultaneously. How did that pan out? What are the inputs you are getting from Visakhapatnam and elsewhere in the state?
Well, indeed, 175 seats going to the polls here, and of course, some of the key seats are Kuppam. There are also other seats where the important personalities are contesting. But as far as what people have been saying is that this particular election is a very clear fight between the TDP and the YSRCP. And the TDP is, of course, in alliance with the BJP and the JSP. And clearly, they're looking to try and consolidate because of the vote share the last time round of the TDP was about 40%, and if we look at the JSP's vote share, it was about 5.8%, and if we add the BJP's vote share, it would all come up to about 47%. And given a new thrust in this election, perhaps with anti-incumbency and the like, they're hoping to get past the post of the YCP, which is ruling in the state. But if we look at some of the analysis, people do also look at perhaps the fact that any anti-incumbency vote against the YCP could also be absorbed by the Congress party, which has fielded candidates, and the India bloc, which has fielded candidates across the entire spectrum
Right.
of 175 seats. So it is a question of who's going to take that, absorb those
Absolutely.
votes if they are anti-incumbency, whether they would go to the NDA bloc or whether they would just go into the third front. Then we'd see a very closer and a
Indeed.
tighter contest.
Indeed.
Ramesh.
All right, we leave it at that. Mark Lynn in Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, Debyendu Mondal in Ranaghat in West Bengal, and Akshay Dongre at Hyderabad in Telangana. Thank you for now. Much appreciated.